Hey everyone, and welcome to my first review for the Men of Horror channel. Uh, Now, this may be your first time seeing me, so I'm going to try and switch things up a tiny bit. And in addition to doing a movie review, I'm going to do a film to book translation. I don't actually have the book in my possession, but since when I read it, I borrowed it from my cousin, but whatever. So yeah. If you you've seen my crappy DVD reviews and recommendations video, you know that this is one of my personal favorite movies, Christine. And if you haven't heard of this and you're prejudging it by this crappy little sci-fi thing, this was not a sci-fi movie. This was an '80s John Carpenter movie and is in no way associated with the Sci-Fi Channel. So I really don't know why that's even there. Anyways, Christine the movie, like I said, one of my personal favorite movies. Let me elaborate on what it was on as to why. Sorry if that came out kind of weird. Basically, my cousin and I, who of which actually is not very into horror movies at all, really. We're just kind of like we were bored, so we were just kind of like having a random like movie marathon. Like we had just watched the Guyver, and we were looking for something else ridiculous and stupid, and so we see Christine on the on-demand list, which all I really knew about it is that it was just a killer car movie and it sounded stupid, but as I immediately found out, it also an '80s John Carpenter movie, and it was based on a Stephen King book, so I'm like geeking out, and it's like the whole time, and like I said, he's not very into horror movies, so the whole time we were just like infatuated with it, like the characters, the music, everything just kind of like really went together, and for a movie about a killer car, it was kind of creepy and as well as funny, which is another reason I really like it. So, uh, overall, it wasn't really amazing, but it's one of my personal favorites, and it's a very solid film. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Now, for the book individually, uh, conveniently, that was also like one of the first books I actually read by myself that was almost Catcher in the Rye, but like about halfway through it, we had to read it for school, so that kind of worked out conveniently. But yeah, Christine the book, it was really good. And in a second, I'm gonna get into the differences of the movie and the book, but uh, I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I have like massive stack of books over here. And this was, like I just said, the first one I actually read by myself. It was, uh, if you do read books, I highly recommend it, and I haven't actually reviewed a book before, so I apologize if I'm kind of repeating information and tripping over myself, but, uh, alright, point is, both the movie and the book are really good, and, uh, I suggest you check them both out, but now I'm going to get into what most people who have seen or read one or the other are probably looking for, and that's the overall differences. And now, for the most part, the big difference is in the movie. Once Arnie got the car, Arnie's the protagonist. Pro eventually antagonist. You know what I mean. So, basically, once he gets the car, over the time he starts transforming, become like not like physically, but like mentally. He starts like becoming a different person. He starts acting differently, and overall just becomes like a total like asshole, infatuated with the car to a point beyond like any anything even remotely healthy. Now in the movie they just kind of left that like vague. It's more like the movie was more of like a tale of like obsession and what that does to people, and that was one of the things that really intrigued me about it. So when I read the book, one thing that really just kind of not blew my mind, but something along those lines, but nowhere near as severe. I'm sorry. Uh, the same sort of thing happens, but he was actually being possessed by the car's previous owner. And in the book, they actually have a really really amusing like description of the guy who owned the car. He was wearing like, I don't know, like this really creepy like spinal brace, and it was like just really like grungy looking. It was funny as hell. And in the movie, they like stuck exactly and true to that. It was really funny, but that was another difference actually. In the movie, the guy who stole the car was actually the guy's brother, and not the previous owner. So yeah, in the book, Arnie is not so much like stuck in like a whirlwind of like obsession and crap like that, but he's actually being possessed. And other than that, there was obviously more in the book. Needless to say, I mean, Stephen King, if you've actually read any of his books, puts a ridiculous amount of detail into like everything. Uh, but yeah, for the most part, they kind of stuck true to it. Yeah, stuck true to it. The only other big difference that kind of bothered me is that Darnell, the guy Arnie had worked for in the car parts place, in the book, his death was just really dynamic and awesome and epic. Like epic, pretty much any kind of word you could think of it. Think of. Sorry. And in the movie, it was just kind of like his death scene in the movie like was in the book, but he didn't die. But like because he like bore witness to Christine the car moving around, he was killed later on. But like in the book, it was just really cool. Like he got really descriptive. It was just dark, snowy, and the car basically just like runs into his house, and like it goes on for like several pages. It was really cool. And I know that probably sounds stupid from that description, but whatever. Uh, so yeah, that went on a little longer than it probably should have, and it kind of sucked too, probably. But yeah, that was my first Men of Horror review, I guess. Started by Pestilence 85, very cool guy. I'm sure everyone here obviously knows who he is. Uh, so yeah, I'm going to leave my channel information if you haven't checked me out before over here, or down here, whatever the hell it is on YouTube now. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I have no idea how to end this, so yeah, whatever.